is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
I am your father.
You like Huey Lewis on the news?
Yes. And you're not sure about this, are you?
You're gonna die, clown!
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss? Sam, the most you ever lost on a coin toss. Call it.
Whose motorcycle is this?
It's a chopper, baby.
Whose chopper is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby.
Bring out today!
This is a tasty burger.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Hello, welcome back to See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I'm Russell.
And I'm Ben.
And Merry Christmas Eve to everyone, or Christmas, or any time of year. This is our Christmas episode, Ben.
Yes.
I would play Christmas music, but I don't want to get slapped with a bunch of fines, so I can't. And we will be talking a bit about Christmas music and movies. And spoiler, why I don't like a lot of them. Because I hate the holiday spirit. That's the kicker here.
You little fucking Grinch.
I am. That was my nickname in college, is Little Fucking Grinch.
Yeah, I'm a bit indifferent towards Christmas. Like, I enjoy the kind of cheerfulness, I guess, of everything, but like, I don't have any sort of like deep connection to the holiday.
Yeah, I understand. No, I totally understand. Ben, when's your birthday?
September.
Oh, it's in September. Okay.
Near the end of September, yes.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, like kids, do you know anyone whose birthday is around Christmas?
I'm sure I do, but I couldn't think of any off the top of my head.
I had a friend in grade school whose birthday was right around Christmas, and he always was like, dude, you would think it's cool, but it's not, because you don't get to have a Christmas and a birthday. It's kind of all one thing, and it sucks. So It's not like two different separate things. Like, my birthday is in March, so for me, I love Halloween. So it goes like Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year's, and then I have a little bit of a downtime, then my birthday. So it's like basically 4 or 5 things back to back to back to back to back of coolness. And then you kind of have a lull period in the summer, so that's awesome. And then you go back into the swing of it. And it's awesome.
Yeah, my kids are fortunate. Their birthdays come like right in the middle of the year. So basically they get like that perfectly even split between birthdays and Christmas. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to wait like super long, I guess, between things. Yeah.
And that's really nice. I mean, it would be really unfortunate if their birthdays... I mean, I guess it would be nice if their birthdays were around the holiday time, because then you can do that whole thing. But then it's shitty because there's like a downside to it.
Yeah.
So your September, when you were in like grade school, does that mean you were the youngest kid or the oldest kid?
One of the older kids.
Okay. Because there's always that cutoff where you're either the youngest kid or the oldest kid, depending on... Yeah. Ben is laying down on this episode, guys, and I like your Christmas tree. That's really nice.
Thank you. I put up this is bad podcasting, since nobody can see this, but yeah, I like a nice, white tree, and it's got some blue, built-in lights on it. It's different from your traditional kind of like evergreen, one that I would assume that most people get. I also have a black tree in the garage too that has like yellow lights on it.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yes.
I think, we used to have a real tree in our house, which if you're looking back on it, that's just like asking for a fire. We used to do a real tree, but we have like a fake tree now that it looks like a pine tree kind of thing. So it's very traditional pine tree.
Yeah.
The only thing I do miss is the smell of pine. That's like one of my favorite scents. Like, if anyone out there wants to get me a Yankee Candle, get me pine scent. It is my favorite smell.
Dude, get on that Yankee Candle right now. They have a sale like 5 for $55.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, online. I just ordered mine a couple days ago.
Ooh, dude, I will burn a pine scented Yankee Candle any time of year. I used to.
Right?
There was a place really close to where I lived in LA that had like candles. There was a Bed Bath & Beyond like down the street from me, but it wasn't that. There was just like this other place, and they had a bunch of candles, and there was a pine scented one, and I burned it in my like apartment, and it was like June in Los Angeles, which is like 100 degrees, but I'm like, I still love the smell of pine. I don't care. And yeah, but speaking of which, have you ever had Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles?
I've not.
Ooh.
I've heard great things about it though.
There was one legitimately, what do you call it when it's not across the street? So you're at an intersection here and it's on the diagonal across the street. What do you call that?
Caddy corner?
Okay, so it was like caddy corner from where my apartment was. Because I lived like next to Technicolor Studios and across from BuzzFeed is where my apartment was.
Oh, wow, okay.
And like the Netflix corporate office, not the studio, the corporate office in Hollywood was literally a block for me. Then like WKQX or whatever the famous LA radio station is right there. Mm-hmm. And because I was on Sunset Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to give people...
That sounds like a busy little area right there.
It is a busy area, and I didn't realize before I moved in, it's not a super nice area. It is... Hollywood is very like... Hollywood is like, it used to be not nice, then not nice, then nice, and it kind of fluctuates. So it's kind of like, it's like layers, like the Grand Canyon, where there's different layers of socioeconomic differences in Los Angeles, especially in Hollywood, that you can tell. So certain things that used to be nice are run down and vice versa. And it's like certain areas that used to be gentrified are flipping back, or certain areas that weren't gentrified are, and it's a very weird mix. But it's really cool. You see a lot of people from all different walks of life. But
I've been to Hollywood once back in 2012, and it seemed very touristy at that time.
Yeah. Were you over by like Madame Tussauds and like the like Adobe Theater and stuff? Or the Dolby Theater?
We did like, well, obviously, yeah, we did the touristy stuff, but even like going away from like that kind of thing, it seemed like everywhere there was, the bus tour for the Stars homes or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, this sounds almost like cliche to a point, but it's like, it seemed like everything was fake.
Oh, dude, everything in that part of LA, in that part of Los Angeles, the greater LA area, is so plastic, it's not even funny. Like, I mean, West Hollywood is really nice. West Hollywood, like, if you've ever seen TMZ, that's West Hollywood. Okay. It's really, like, kind of bougie, is kind of what I would call it. It's very, like, boutique, bougie, very up and up. It's kind of like Lincoln Park in Chicago, but even nicer. But Hollywood itself is really weird. Like, no one lives in Hollywood. Like, people live north of Hollywood Boulevard, near, like, the Hollywood sign in Griffith Park and up that area where you start going up the mountain. And those are really nice, like, kind of old-ish apartments that are really cool and have this kind of New York, kind of Brooklyn-y kind of feel because they're so old and they've been renovated. But if you go farther south, you get to, like, Little Armenia. And kind of go east, you go Little Armenia, and then you get near like Echo Park and all that kind of stuff. And so some of those, and like the like Thai Village and like Koreatown, some areas there are nice, some areas are not. And it's kind of like you gotta make sure where you know where you're going. Like if you're in an Uber, like don't get off at the wrong area at the wrong time. Like I've never felt endangered, but there's times where like I got off on the wrong block, and I'm like, this is probably not where I should be right now. Right. But yeah, I really, really want to, like, even if doing grad school out there, I don't think I'll really do Christmas in LA, but I think Christmas in LA would be very weird because it's hot. So you don't, it's like, you don't really get Christmas there the same as you would here in the Midwest where it actually snows and people are sad because they have to shovel and stuff.
Yeah, it almost feel like if you grew up in this area and then had to spend a Christmas out there, it would mess with your mind a little bit.
Yeah, I did Christmas in Miami a few times because I was sailing with like high level sailing, and we had a regatta that was literally over New Year's. So we left, I think, Christmas Day and went to Miami for like 6 or 7 days. And it was weird to be like having Christmas and it be hot out. Very strange. But I mean, I don't like the winter. Most people know that. I think I've said this on the podcast, but I do like something about Christmas. I think Christmas, like in Chicago or in Indy, like when everything's lit up, it's nice. But the rest of Christmas and the rest of the holiday can go fuck off. But yeah.
dive deeper into that. What? I guess if we're gonna get into this now, like, what is your general disdain with the holidays here?
So, I guess, this is hard because I don't want to sound like a dickhead. That's the biggest thing here. I don't want to sound like a fuck. I love the idea of Christmas and Thanksgiving with spending time with family, giving to others, giving back, helping the economy, I guess. But I think a lot of it, I think it starts a little bit with the Black Friday shit and the Cyber Monday shit. Well, okay. Yes, you get sweet deals, but it's just like, I don't know, I guess maybe it's this like nostalgia trip that I'm on or something, but like when I was a kid, even when I was a kid and doing Christmas felt a lot more like, it felt like more real than it does now. Maybe it's because of social media and everything else. And not just because I'm older, but Christmas just feels so like bullshitty fake. And that's not because of like Christmas movies. It's just because of like this whole culture around like, you have to have your Starbucks and you have to have your like picture with it. And you have to have all this like bullshit Christmas stuff. And if you don't, people judge you for it. And I'm like, why? And I personally, the only reason I keep social media is for my job in this. Other than that, I would totally go hermit and not have social media. I've thought about getting like a second phone and putting my SIM card in here, or my SIM card from this phone into a flip phone for like a week to see if I can do it.
I tried to go Facebookless for a while, and it was just mostly hard because like I have a lot of family and extended family that do like to keep up with the kids' stuff. And it was just kind of like, I didn't feel, not guilty, I guess, but just more like, you know, I'm sure that I have a lot of family that would actually like to see, like, you know, pictures of the kids, like, every now and then. And for me to just ditch Facebook completely just because I don't have a need for it, it's kind of like, okay, I can sacrifice a little bit of time to, you know, post a pic here and there for parents or grandparents, cousins, and whatever to see. But like other than that, I'll post an occasional, you know, quippy, funny, status update or something. But other than that, like I could give a shit less about Facebook anymore. Mm-hmm. It's become something just so much worse than what it has ever been before. Yeah, it honestly, I have noticed it. What was I doing recently where it kind of clicked to me? I was doing something online, and I don't even remember what I was looking for. I was looking for some piece of information very specifically. You know what? I was looking at grad school information on just like reviews for things. Just like, what do students and other people say about this program? Like, I know you have to take everything you read on the internet with a grain of salt, but I was just like, it's interesting to read. And there's just all these negative comments, and I'm like, holy shit, the internet is such a fucking toxic place where like any positive light just gets so smothered by all of these people's like horse shit. And it just like, it hit me, and it was the most like nonsensey kind of thing that I was doing. And somehow that was the thing that like, this isn't okay. Like there's something up here. And yeah. It's because people can't stand the fact that someone else gets a little bit of enjoyment out of something that they don't like.
Yeah, I really do think that's part of it. And I think maybe that, like... you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
A tickle in the throat. And I was like, oh shit, I can't hold this one back.
Yeah. But no, I know what you're saying. And yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it almost makes me sound like I'm trying to not be a Scrooge about it, because I'm trying to say like, yo, Christmas is about something else. But I'm saying that like almost with the attitude of like, fuck all this, which makes me sound kind of like Scrooge like. But I'm like, let's kind of detach from this other like Instagram and Twitter side of things where you have to like flex on people and you have to like be like, yo, my Christmas is so dope because I got like 4 Xboxes. It's like, dude, is that what this is about? Like, this shouldn't be about flexing on people.
Yeah, like for me, I guess in particular, like in this part of my life where I'm back in school, yeah, like Christmas or the holiday season is mainly just like a time to unwind and kind of get my sanity back.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it should be. And like to hang out with your family, like hang out with your kids and stuff. Like,
yeah, because like, just recently the Purdue fall semester just ended. All my finals are done. Now I can just kind of like take a breather, spend time like much more time with my kids, like during the day. At night, I can get some quality, PlayStation time, catch up on some TV shows, movies that I've been wanting to catch up with. So it's just, it's like I get my kind of mental health time to recuperate, and get ready for the grind, like once again in a few weeks. Yeah,
and I mean, people listening to this on Christmas are going to be like, "What the hell are you talking about? You're so anti-Christmas right now." No, I'm very pro-Christmas. I'm anti the way our society is looking at Christmas. To get the point across,
you're against the social mediaization and Christmas. The consumerization of Christmas.
Yeah, because like, I mean, not to get too into it, like, I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so Christmas meant a few things for me. Christmas meant you got to go to church on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, which was like such a like, oh God, I have to go there. And the priest knows that he has like the biggest audience all year, except for like maybe Ash Wednesday and Easter. For those of you who aren't Catholic, I'm not going to get into what Ash Wednesday is. Look it up. But for all of that, like, maybe there's a few other days a year that like the priest knows, but for Christmas, that shit is packed, son. That's like a headliner at Lollapalooza. He knows he's got a crowd, so he's going to like go on with his homily. He's going to do all this shit. There's all this singing, and I went to Catholic high school as well, so I was surrounded by it a lot. And even though my high school is very like Catholic, but they're also like, make up your own mind. Some of this stuff may not make sense to you, and that's cool. And that's kind of how my high school was, so it wasn't like brainwashy. But yeah, that's always what Christmas was to me. It was like family, either hosting at my house or going to my cousin's house, exchanging gifts, Santa, and church was like Christmas for us. And then you had to get dressed up for church, which was like a nightmare. But yeah,
was your Christmas Eve service at like damn near midnight?
Oh my God. I think there was a few, when I was younger, I think there was one at like 7 p.m. that we went to, because the church that my family like goes to or went to or whatever is like down the street from me. It's where my grade school is. It's at the same place. I almost said the name, but people could look it up. But so it's like right down the street from here. But then there was like a 10 p.m. till midnight one. And I think even my mom and dad were like, no, because we know you're going to wake us up at 3 a.m. tomorrow because Santa came, and that's a whole thing. So, yeah, they did a little earlier one. But, like, that's how Christmas was to me, and I think it should be for most kids. Not the church thing. If you choose to do church thing, cool. If you don't, cool. But, like, the whole Santa thing and the family thing, all that. But, like, even looking right now, I was downstairs in my kitchen, and there was just, like, all these, like, commercials of like Santa taking a fucking selfie. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening? This is not okay. Santa shouldn't be taking selfies, dude. Santa's up there hanging out with Buddy the Elf, building like Jack in the Boxes or something.
Yeah, for me, I guess I didn't grow up in a very heavily going family. Like we never, I don't ever remember a time where we went like Christmas morning or nothing like that. But yeah, it was always like Christmas Eve at the grandparents', Christmas morning we did it at our house, and then like throughout growing up, when kind of families changed with like a divorce. My mother passed away when I was like 11. So like you had to, when anybody that's a child of divorce kind of realizes and knows that holidays get split up like 15 different ways. Sometimes you go into mom's family's house, dad's family's house, all that kind of crazy crap. So yes, holidays were a bit hectic growing up, and even to this day, like it's always, okay, gotta get to my side of the family, and all that entails, and then to the kid's mom's side of the family and all that entails. It's just like by the end of the day on Christmas, I am just so freaking beat. Yeah, I want to sit down and I want to pour beer, maybe smoke half pack of cigarettes or something. Like I need to. Yeah, no,
I totally see what you're saying, because it's so hard making everyone else happy and like putting all those pieces together that I mean, I'm very fortunate that my parents, my mom and dad, are like married and everything. And they're downstairs right now. And my dad is whistling and listening to CNN, which is normal. And he probably, if I know my dad, he just went running and he's sitting at the kitchen table on his computer doing work without his shirt on. That's my dad. For anyone who wants a good mental image, and my dad looks like Larry David. So if you don't know what my dad looks like, look up a picture of Larry David, add a little more hair on top, because my dad's not bald. He looks the same. He sounds the same. He's built the same. And he doesn't have a shirt on. He's sitting at our kitchen table. That's my dad. You're welcome. And for people who do know my dad, that's a perfect description. I know. But yeah, so that's what's happening right now. But I do understand, like, even me going to my cousin's place, or anything like that. Sorry, people are texting me. Even go to my cousin's house, like, when you get back, and even if it's like 9:30, it feels like it's 5 in the morning, and you're like, holy shit, like, I can't. And it's like fun because you get to see people, and you get to get in arguments with your cousins, which is like the best, or whatever. But yeah, and I think that's what it should be about. But you know what else Christmas should be about? Movies and music that I'm about to shit on.
Do some shit.
Okay, so Ben,
I want to hear these. I want to hear these opinions, and I want to tell you why you're either right or wrong.
Okay, so this isn't me just shitting on Christmas. I genuinely do love Christmas and Christmas movies, but I'm going to get into why some of them are. How do I put this? Some Christmas movies don't need to be Christmas movies. The Christmas part of the movie is shoehorned in because of Christmas, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, the movie doesn't need to involve Christmas because that's not an integral part of the plot.
You could remove Christmas from it completely, and the quality and story would, like, hold up.
Yes.
The way it is right then and there.
Yes. And those are the Christmas movies I do not like. In general,
Okay.
I do like Christmas movies, and I do... Christmas music is something else, and we're going to get into that. But yeah, so my favorite Christmas movie of all time, people are going to say Elf. I love Elf. Elf is amazing. But my favorite Christmas movie of all time is Gremlins. If you think Gremlins isn't a Christmas movie, you can turn this podcast off. Thank you. Okay, now that those people are gone, Gremlins is amazing.
Yeah, Gremlins is a fantastic movie. Funny enough, it was like released in like July.
Yeah.
When it came out, which weird. But I guess they thought it was going to be a big enough hit to where it it could be a summer blockbuster, which I'm pretty sure it did really well when it first came out.
Yeah.
But Gremlins is like when the kid's mom, like I made her watch it for the first time ever a couple years ago, and after she watched it, she's like, "This is not a Christmas movie. This is scary, and it's violent." I'm like, "It's not that bad. Come on now." But the fact remains, it is a Christmas movie, yes, and it's a very good Christmas movie.
Yeah. It is a really good Christmas movie. Also, it has a really good message to it as well. Besides the fact that it is just a good Christmas movie, it's about don't abuse animals and be responsible. And that's like a good lesson. Also, I don't know if you should show Gremlins to kids. What do you think? You have two small kids. What do you think about showing Gremlins, the movie, to children?
I consider it. I would have to look and see what rating it was, whether it was PG or PG-13 at the time. But if something like that came out today, it would be like, it would be a solid PG-13. And I think like show that towards maybe like when they're getting towards like 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, something like that. I think and always like just know your children, know whether they should be ready for this kind of thing like before they watch it. But I think most kids would probably be like okay with it. It might scare them a little bit, but like I remember watching Gremlins the first time when I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think my parents showed me Gremlins when I was 8 or 9, but yeah, another one of my favorite Christmas movies. So we're going to go through some that are non-traditional Christmas movies. Edward Scissorhands is one of my favorite Christmas movies. And for those of you who don't think it's on Christmas, it ends on Christmas. Or ends in the Christmassy theme because he's doing the ice sculptures from his tower and it's like Christmas music playing at the end. And also Tim Burton does really like Christmas in a lot of his stuff. That's one of my favorite Christmas movies. There's a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr., directed by Shane Black, which is a Christmas movie, one of my favorites. The Nice Guys which is with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, also by Shane Black, which is a fantastic Christmas movie.
Yeah, Shane Black is a very big Christmas fan because Lethal Weapon,
yes,
Iron Man 3.
I was going to get into those. Yeah,
all of those Christmas time. Yep.
Yeah, and so all of those movies where, yes, technically they don't need to be on Christmas, and that's part of what I was talking about, where those movies can stand alone really well and not be part of Christmas and still be really good, but the shoehorning in of Christmas is part of like the setting, but doesn't need to be. But they're fantastic Christmas movies because it gives you an excuse to watch those movies and subject your family to them who may have never seen them. And you're like, I'm going to show you a Christmas movie. And they're like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, it's a Christmas movie. And then they're like, you're not wrong, but this isn't what we thought we were going to be into. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, they're like, where's my Christmas Story? Where's my 24-hour TBS marathon of a Christmas Story? Like, you gotta diversify your Christmas bonds here.
What is your opinion of the Christmas Story movie?
It's good for a chuckle, I guess, but like I am in no way like devoted to that film.
Yeah. Same. I 100%. My dad, when he was a kid, looks exactly like Ralphie. Like there's pictures of my dad. We have a Ralphie bobblehead doll in our family room because my dad looks exactly like Ralphie. But other than that, like, yeah, it's funny. There's like a few really funny moments where you're like, okay, like that holds up very well. But yeah, it's the same as like Miracle on 34th Street or whatever, or It's a Wonderful Life. Like fantastic movies, definitely a staple, something you show your kids, show your family, watch it once every 5 years, but not something that's a mandatory watch every Christmas. I will go so far as saying Elf is the same way. You don't need to watch Elf every single Christmas. Even though it's really, really good, I think it ages well, but give it a few years to watch it again. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know if I have any staples of Christmas for like movies that I find myself watching every single year. And this kind of leads back to my like, I'm not like a diehard Christmas fan. Like I just enjoy the season, but it's not like I don't like gear up for like, all right, fuck yeah, let's get out the sweaters, let's get out the lights and like all that. I'm just like, okay, cool, yay. Yeah,
no, 100%. I'm very much in that same boat with you. But you know what is a good Christmas movie that you may have watched, Ben? The Harry Potter movies. They all have Christmas in them. And I've always grown up thinking those were kind of Christmas movies, even though they're not, but they kind of are. But they're not, but they kind of are.
They're those types that where you could take out the element of Christmas and not lose anything from those.
Yes, 100%. And those movies are always on around Christmas as well, I think because of that. Because there's the Christmas part of it because ABC or like CBS is like, wait, do they say the word Christmas in this movie? We're putting it on. Marathon, let's go. Syndication. And yeah, I do think that, but my all-time favorite films to watch around Christmas, no matter what, it's not Gremlins, it's Lord of the Rings. Every single Christmas or around this time of year, I may do it this weekend, I will sit down and binge watch The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King in one day. And that is 12 and a half hours worth of cinema that I will be sitting down and doing uninterrupted. And I'm very lucky to have a TV in our basement, and I have a laptop where I have the movies, and I will lock myself wherever I am, and I'll get like a catheter. I'm not even stopping. I'll get a catheter and I'll like get protein smoothies. I'll just sit there and just watch them and cry the entire time. For those of you who don't know, I'm a giant Tolkien fan. For new listeners, I have a Tolkien tattoo. I have love for the game. So, yes.
I guess the only movie I could say that I do watch every year, maybe even a couple times a year, just because I love it so much, and it's in no way, shape, or form a Christmas film, is Boogie Nights.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I adore that film. I think it's, it may not be Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie, but it's my personal favorite of his. Mm-hmm. And it was like his first kind of major breakout hit, like of a film. But yeah, I think that movie is damn near perfect. And so that's something that I'm like, oh, I have a weekend, or like, you know, I have 2.5 hours to kill. Pop it in the Blu-ray. Let's watch Boogie Nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. That's a really good movie. I've never picked you as a Boogie Nights fan.
Oh yeah, it's amazing film. I love it so much.
Huh. Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, you know what we should do? Like, because people want to know, because it's a popular thing to do. Let's talk about Die Hard. The original Die Hard with Hans Gruber and John McClane, which they're making a prequel to. Don't make a prequel to Die Hard.
What?
Yeah, they're making a prequel to Die Hard, and it's just going to be called McClane. I'm not kidding.
Christ.
Yeah, I don't know how legitimate that story is. I did see it on like a tech news kind of insider, and they're usually pretty right about these kind of stories. It's not necessarily a movie publication site, but they are very, very quite accurate. So that may be a thing that's happening. Hollywood, please don't do that. Okay. So let's talk about Die Hard. When was the first time you saw Die Hard? And then let's get into it.
I guess I will say the first time I saw Die Hard in its entirety was probably when I was like a teenager.
Okay.
And I think I'd seen like bits and pieces of it throughout childhood, because it had, it would be on like USA or TNT, something like that. But the first time I like made an effort to fully sit down and watch it was maybe when I was like 15 or 16.
Okay. I was probably the first time I ever saw Die Hard. I think that's a movie that my mom would have showed me. Because my mom's a really big Die Hard fan. I'm trying to think. I was probably like 13 or 14 when I first saw it. And I'm trying to think about it. So I was probably 13 or 14. It definitely wasn't around Christmas. Maybe I was younger. And I really liked it a lot, but I didn't get it when I was younger. I'm like, oh, this is just another like action cop movie, right? But I'm a big Die Hard fan. The Yippee-Ki-Yay motherfucker is in the intro to this podcast. I'm a huge Die Hard fan. So, yeah. But yeah, so let's get into it and why people say it's not a Christmas movie and why people say it is a Christmas movie. So yeah, first, before you answer that, Ben, do you think it's a Christmas movie, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I agree. Cool. So what, like, let's play devil's advocate or advocate and devil's advocate for pro-Christmas movie and anti-Christmas movie.
Okay, I think people can make the argument, and I understand the argument, coming from maybe kind of like your point of view for some of the movies that you dislike, where you could take the Christmas element out of it, and you would still have a very effective action movie that just happens to take place at another point in time in the year. Like I said, I can understand that argument. However, I do think that the timing of it being during Christmas is important enough to the overall plot and story of the film, to where it adds a layer to the movie, to where it's just like, okay, this is, because like, I mean, the whole thing takes place in the Nakatomi Plaza during a Christmas party, like the office Christmas party. So, and that's what gets crashed by Hans Gruber and his group of terrorists. Or terrorists, so you think. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Die Hard, pause this movie and go rent it or something.
Yeah, pause this movie.
But I think most people would say like it would, like most people that are on the non-Christmas or Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie side of the argument would say like you could put this in at any other point in the year and it would remain the same. But I have to disagree, even though I understand their point of view.
Yeah. You know what? I think because my boy Alan Rickman's in it, rest in peace. And he plays one of the best movie villains of all time in a movie that does take place on Christmas and has a very Christmassy message of like helping your family and doing what you need to do and being a badass, which is what Christmas is really about. Yeah, it's a Christmas movie, and it's fantastic. It has some of the best action sequences ever, and it revolutionized action movies. Like, come on. It's a given. It's Christmassy. It's badass. It'll entertain everyone in your family. Like, if you have, like, kids who don't want to sit down and watch, like, a blah, blah, blah Christmas movie again, put on some Die Hard. Those kids are going to love Christmas movies from now on.
Yeah, John McTiernan, he had a hot streak going in the late 80s. He had Predator in 87 and then Die Hard in 88. Like, arguably the two best action movies of the 80s right there.
100%. Wait, did Rambo come out in the 80s?
Yes. First Blood.
Yeah, Rambo is up
mid
there.
To early, yeah.
It is not as good as Predator, though. Let's talk about Predator for a second. I know we talked about it a little bit before. I rewatched Predator. It was on TV like 2 days ago. From start to finish. It was on maybe it was on Starz or HBO or something. It's so good. It is so good in every way. From a
filmmaking standpoint, like story wise, it's a very simple movie.
Yes,
it's just basically like commandos go in for a mission, and they start getting. It's essentially a slasher movie disguised as like this Schwarzenegger shoot 'em up, like burly beefcake of 5 or 6 strong men going to do a job that no one else wants to. But like all these tough as nails dudes start getting picked off by an alien, and it slowly morphs from the Schwarzenegger Commando movies into this like slasher film. But then also it's very well shot, very well edited. Great special effects. It's damn near a perfect movie.
Yes, I truly agree. And I know it's kind of hokey, it's kind of campy, there's some silliness in it. Obviously, you have a bunch of bodybuilders in the forest. It's going to be a little goofy. But with what you're saying, the movie does exactly what it sets out to do. It's very modern in the way it's made, like the editing style, like what you just said, and the CGI, the special effects in that movie are incredible for like what it is. Like that, the invisibility cloaking effect is something that movies still replicate today. And yeah, obviously it's CGI, obviously it's fake, but it looks so good. And the thermal heat vision thing, so cool. And it does suspense and slasher in such a unique way, because a lot of times, as the horror movies that you've sent me, Ben, a lot of them are in a house or in a very confined setting. But this jungle setting is really interesting because it's so expansive, but it is claustrophobic in the same way. And it's almost more scary because it's like, this is nature and you can't go hide in the corner.
Yeah, there's so many different species of animal that are naturally like camouflaged through living in the jungle already, that you add in this alien being that has an extra layer of artificial camouflage that it puts on itself. It's just like, there's no way these dudes are outgunned in every single way, even though there's like 6 or 7 of them with giant fucking guns, and one alien with a little laser cannon and a spear. Well, wait, did he have the spear in First Predator?
No, he did not. 2? He had the I think he had the disc things. Maybe he didn't have he had the shoulder.
Disc was in 2. The disc was in 2 because he cuts Gary Busey in half. With
and then you only see the bottom half of him fall, or the top half. It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he has a disc in 2. He has the net in 2 as well. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I think in 1 he has the claws.
Yes.
Does he have the spear? I don't think he does have the spear in 1. He has the claws. He has the bomb.
Right, yeah, the little wrist nuke.
He has the shoulder cannon, the other gun. And I think that's it, because at the end he fights Arnold hand to hand.
Yes, because it's the ultimate like trophy. Like, all right, time to take on this badass. And he has no weapons, so naturally the Predator is an honorable creature.
Yes,
he has to get rid of all of his weapons too.
Yeah, and they did it on Mythbusters, and they found it kind of inconclusive to maybe not working the covering yourself in mud for the thermo thing.
Okay.
But like it works if you're laying in the mud because it masks your body heat enough. But if you start moving around, the mud warms up pretty quickly. But if you kept reapplying it, it does mask your body heat. But that concept of Arnold like hiding in the mud and like cloaking himself and learning that's how the Predator sees him is so cool and so well done. And the movie doesn't do all this expositional shit where it like has to spoon feed everything to you. It kind of just lays it out visually, and then you figure out, you're like, wow, this is really cool. And it's not one of those movies that needs to guide the audience like that.
Yep. Yeah. Very minimal exposition. I think really the only thing there is like at the very beginning where Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers meet up to like, here's your mission. And then bam, they're in the helicopter. They're heading on their way.
Have you seen Arrested Development?
Yes, with Carl Roll.
It's so funny. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Carl Weathers is in Arrested Development. He plays himself as an acting coach for Tobias, and the whole thing is like he's charging Tobias essentially for nothing. And like he keeps making these weird food puns, and I don't know what the reference is to for that. Do you?
I don't think there is a reference. He's just like, they write his character basically to be like a scam artist of a acting coach that also seems like kind of a scumbag, like hobo.
Yeah.
Because like, why are you throwing away them bones? There's plenty of meat on them bones, baby.
Yeah, he's like, you can make a stew.
You can make yourself a stew.
It's so funny. And like when you show people like just those scenes, they're like, what is happening? You're like, I don't exactly know, because I'm like, are they referencing something here, or is this just like Ron Howard being goofy? I think it's Ron Howard being goofy, and it works. And is Carl Weathers the last one to die before Arnold does? Spoiler alert. Or who's the last one to die before Arnold?
It's not Carl Weathers. It is, I forget the guy's name. He's not one of the like beefier dudes. He's kind of a lankier one with the woman.
Oh, yeah, on the bridge or on the tree.
Yeah, he gets like a quick like shot in the head while the woman's like helping him along. Yeah, he gets injured by the swinging tree trunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Yes.
And the first person to die is actually Shane Black.
Yeah, he is. And he gets dragged away and disemboweled.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that Shane Black character in that. And also, Shane Black, I don't know how old he is, but he looks really good for his age, no matter how old he is, because that movie is, I mean, it's not old, but it's fairly old, and he looks really young in that, and he still looks pretty young. Good for Shane Black. Good for you, dude. But yeah, so we just talked about The Predator for 20 minutes, which is never a bad thing, by the way. But Ben, what do you think about Christmas music? And you can take that sentence any way you like. There's no wrong answer for the term Christmas music. So, like, what is your overall opinion?
Pretty much the same as my overall opinion of Christmas itself. It's just kind of like, okay, Christmas music, it comes with the package of the holiday season. Some people do it better than others. I really don't like country music genre, takes on Christmas music. I just try and avoid that as much as I can. But really, it's just, you hear a Christmas song once, you get it every other time it's re-recorded by a different artist. It remains the same.
Mm-hmm. I very much agree with that. I think there's incredibly famous versions of a lot of Christmas songs. I think if we're going to go like cover album for Christmas, I really, 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 really do like Michael Bublé's Christmas album. I just like Michael Bublé in general. I think he's really good. I
guess I do have a personal a song that kind of does make me feel a little bit all warm and fuzzy. Is Bing Crosby's White Christmas. It's like kind of the classic one. That one just it's got like a really like upbeat sort of feeling to it, and I like his real deep tone that he brings to the lyrics, and it's just nice. I could see myself enjoying that over a cup of coffee in the morning and just being like, okay, It's a good day. It's a good way to start the day.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's a really good song. I think a lot of them are good. It's just sort of overplayed, and it's one of those overplayed, overrated, and kind of like it. I think Christmas music would be better if the radios played it starting December 10th, and instead of starting like in Halloween or something. I think that's the biggest issue I have with it, is just this oversaturation of it, because it is very, very, like, is it topical, or it's very honed into one very specific thing. Like, you can't go listen to Christmas music. I mean, I guess you could any time of year, but why? But it's very for one certain thing. It's like listening to, like, you wouldn't listen to, like, the Monster Mash Halloween song in June kind of thing. But yeah, I think I don't like sounding like such a person talking smack about all this, but I think Christmas music is really nice, and I want to know what your opinion of the "Baby It's Cold Outside" thing is, without getting too heated about either side, because they're not allowed to play it on the radio anymore or something.
Okay, I haven't read much into this. I saw that there was a big like stink about the song now, but I really didn't bother to read like what that was. So, do you know what's making people offended about this song now?
So, "Baby It's Cold Outside," lyrically speaking, it's like, maybe you should stay, baby it's cold outside kind of thing. Essentially, he's coercing her into staying because he says it's cold outside, and have another drink, and then we can totally fuck. Is essentially like the theme of the song, but so is like "Every Breath You Take," like the Sting song, is about
creepy as shit.
It's about stalking someone. And you know, like, yeah, the song is clearly about stalking someone, but it's something different. It takes on a life of its own. And when Sting wrote that, and Brandon Flowers has a song called "Lonely Town" that's very similar. It's like, it comes off as like a really like, oh, this is nice, but then there's like lines in Brandon Flowers' song where he says like, did you hear the knife cut, or did you feel the knife cut? Did you hear the doors break? Did you like, can you keep your ear to the ground for the kids in Lonely Town? It's about like a girl getting stalked and murdered. And no one has like issue with that, or maybe people do. But like, dude, it's "Baby It's Cold Outside." The message isn't cool in general, but it's of its time. It's kind of a thing. It's a really famous song. You don't have to like play it on the radio if you don't want to, but I don't think it's right to ban it. And this is coming from someone who's very, this isn't a hot take, anti-rape, but come on, like, it is what it is. It's shitty. You know it's shitty, but like, you don't need to ban it outright, because that's giving publicity to the song in a different way that you don't want. That's like, it's one of those, you're avoiding it so hard that you're not avoiding it anymore. And I think that's obnoxious on the other end of the spectrum.
It sounds like people are just trying to add their own personal offensiveness, or their sense of being offended to a piece of pop culture that like doesn't matter anymore.
Yes.
Like, and yeah, like you said, it was a song of its time. And, you know, that maybe doesn't excuse like the
lyrical stuff,
possible intentions of the lyricist. Like, did he really write that to be like date rapey or something like that? Probably not. But it's just like, we have a million other things in the present, in the now, that could use attention more than a fucking song wrote like decades ago.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That is influencing nobody. Like, no one's going to like subliminally overhear "Baby It's Cold Outside" and then start feeling like rapey. That's not going to happen.
Exactly. And I get why people won't play on the radio for like their kids, everything else. I get that. Then don't. But giving it too much attention on the other end of the spectrum, you are ultimately not proving your point. You're doing what you set out not to do. So, yeah, that's my thing on "Baby It's Cold Outside," because I got in an argument with a friend where he was like, it should be banned and destroyed, all copies. I'm like, okay, 1, no. 2, it's not a good message. But once you start destroying media and destroying art, even though it's not what you like, you know who else did that? The Nazis. Don't destroy like stuff like that. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to play it. You don't have to be cool with it. But don't destroy shit. You know what I mean? And
yeah, this sounds a lot like how like there was also another recent thing where like people were starting to question like the integrity of like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a thing. Like people were saying like, oh yeah, Rudolph, like the message about that is like bullying and like kind of like kowtowing to people's like peer pressure about like not being weird or something like that. And it's just like, really, you people, like you're going after a children's movie from like the 50s, and just like we were talking about, you're adding your own sense of being offended to a movie that was like yeah, so old and of its time, and like has nothing to do with like bullying or whatever. I don't know. It's all crazy.
Yeah, I think with a lot of those things, I 1,000,000,000,000% agree with you that like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing. Also, that movie scared me as a kid. The snow monster thing at the end, that freaked me out. Am I the only one? Okay.
It probably got to me a little bit too.
But yeah, honestly, I think that's where we'll like leave that part of this conversation. Is like, honestly, if that's how you think of it, that's fine. You're allowed to think what you're allowed to think. No one's ever, like, I'm never going to tell you you're wrong. Sorry, a lot of people are texting me. I'm in the middle of a group chat, and I don't know how to silence it on my computer. No, you're allowed to believe whatever it is that you want to, but, like, come on, don't ruin it for someone else. And if you don't like it, don't listen to it. And everyone gets that there's, like, weird, shitty, antiquated stuff in there. And, yeah, I don't love it either, but I'm not going to... You know what I mean? I'm not going to ruin someone else's day over it.
Yeah, ask, like, people that kind of raise an eyebrow to this kind of thing, like, ask yourself a question like this, like, what kind of real damage is this piece of media doing? Like, today? Like, is showing a kid this really going to warp them to, like, be a bully? Is it going to be that piece of... Is it going to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that turns your kid into a little fucking shit? Or is it Baby It's Cold Outside that's going to turn a person into like a date rapist or someone that thinks that's okay to do? Is it really that's doing it? Yeah. If it's not, if you can 100% say that, like, no, I really don't think that's the full thing. Okay, maybe divert your fucking like your pearl clutching to something that maybe a little bit more worthy of that.
Yeah, and maybe just like teach your kids right from wrong, and just like teach them like what this is and that's out there, and not to do that. Maybe that's the right answer, but you know what? I'm probably wrong. We're just two guys who have a podcast. But yeah, so that's that piece of news that we wanted to touch. But yeah, so when talking about Christmas music, I really love when musicians like the Killers have a Christmas album. And Julian Casablancas, the lead singer of the Strokes, has a Christmas song. And I think those are funny because the Killers one is called Don't Shoot Me Santa. And it's really, really quite funny. And Julian Casablancas' song, I don't remember. I think it's called like just like Christmas is Coming. And they're like actually Christmas songs, but they're just like funny and they're on the nose for what they are. Because they know exactly what this is. And like Run the Jewels have a Christmas song. I think those are funny when artists do that because they're just poking so much fun at what we were talking about, where like if you put Christmas in the name of something, you're going to sell, and they know that. And it's very self-aware. Like Deadpool, they re-released Deadpool 1 or 2 or whatever, like the Deadpool Christmas version.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
And I know there's different scenes they added to it. I mean, they made it PG-13, but they added a bunch to it and took a bunch out. So I would want to see it. Like, if you buy Deadpool 2 on Blu-ray, it'd be cool if it came with Deadpool, like a very Merry Christmas Deadpool or whatever. I would totally watch it then because I'd be like, oh, this is interesting. Because as the what's his face from Princess Bride, Fred Savage, and all that, and like I think that'd be super funny just to watch that bit. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, the whole Christmas thing, I went into this podcast wanting to shit on like everything Christmas, and I realized, one, that's probably a bad idea because I'm going to piss a lot of people off, and two, I think my biggest problem with Christmas is just social media is my biggest problem. It's like, I love Christmas as a holiday. It's fun. You can talk about Christmas stuff, all that. Wait, let's get off that. Do you like eggnog?
I've never actually had eggnog.
Okay.
I've never even tried it. I've never I guess when I was a kid, I never wanted to try it because just the word nog does not come off as very appealing. But I mean, I would be willing to try it nowadays.
Nog sounds like a British term for like trash dick. It's like, you know, when you get too drunk and like you have like whiskey dick, it'd be like the British term. It's like, oh, I went out too hard last night and I got nog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like. So for all of the British and European people listening, please verify what that's the slang for that. But yeah, do you like Baileys?
Yeah. Baileys is okay.
Eggnog is like Baileys with more milk and cinnamon.
Okay.
Or maybe it's allspice. There's some.
That.
It's more like aromatic-y. It's a lot stronger of that like gingerbready, holiday-y kind of taste. It's either you love it or you hate it, and it's 1 billion calories per serving. It's all sugar and fat, and if alcohol, if you choose to put alcohol in your eggnog. I think eggnog is something I can have once a year. I'll like have 1 glass of it, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I don't have to have this again until next year. But I know some people who will like down the eggnog. I'm like, 1, that's Vom City waiting to happen, because that's just unpasteurized raw eggs, cream, liquor, and sugar. You're done. Like that is
perfect concoction right there.
Yeah. It's so gross. What is your favorite Christmas food though?
Let's see. I guess this maybe doesn't qualify as like a specific Christmas food, but like I'm always down for like a perfectly cooked like Christmas ham. Ooh. Or maybe some like deviled eggs. Like I guess deviled eggs is just more or less like family gathering food. Like not a lot of people just like make deviled eggs out of nowhere. It's usually for like, okay, guess we're going to a dinner or we're having people over. Let's whip up some deviled eggs.
Yeah, I like deviled eggs. I think both my parents hate deviled eggs. I think that's why we never make them, but I really do love those. That's actually a really good one. Ham, I'm not a big straight ham man. So what I mean by that is like ham is really good, and for Thanksgiving, like my cousins are, I don't know why I said that in such a low voice. Sorry, I have hiccups, and so it makes me sound like I'm being very serious. So my cousins are like my mom's twins. That's who we always go to. My mom's twins kids, or like their family. And then my uncle who's married, and he's Polish. So it's like half Polish, half Irish. And they cook a lot of Polish food. And so there's like sausages and all that good stuff there. And so like if there's ham, I'll have some ham, maybe some like chicken or turkey, maybe some sausages, maybe some like sweet potato casserole, maybe some veggies, and I'll mix it all together with gravy. But I don't think I can just have ham by itself, or I'll put it on a sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's got to be a very like, yeah, it has to have some like some kick to the ham. So yeah, you can't not like just throw a ham in the oven and cook it or whatever. It's got to be like maybe like honey cured or something like that. Like a good taste to it. Yeah, like ham itself is really good. Ham is like going to a music festival, and it's like one of the, not the headlining acts, but it's someone you know, and you're like, oh, that'd be really cool to see them. Oh, sweet, we do get to see them, but it's not the reason you went. But it's a bonus that they're there. Yeah. The reason you go is for all the side dishes.
Yes.
Thanksgiving and Christmas both. Like, it's all about the side dishes.
Ooh, what's your favorite side dish?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm always down for a good, like, baked macaroni and cheese.
Ooh, oh man, dude. With, like, the crust on top, like some crumblies. Yeah. Dude, now you're cooking with grease. That's really good. I like dressing, not stuffing. Stuffing is, it's soggy. I don't like the sogginess. I like dressing. I like that little bit of crispiness. I like that. I feel like, what's Paul Hollywood from Great British Bake Off? It's like, it needs to be crisp. If you get that reference, thank you. If you don't, that's fine. But no, I really need a crispness to my dressing. But then I just smother in gravy anyway, so I guess what does it matter? But what else? Do you like cranberry sauce? I'm a big cranberry sauce man.
It's not bad. It's not something I reach for.
Okay. What is a thing that's at your Christmas or Thanksgiving that you really like that other people may not traditionally have at theirs? Like, what is a thing? It could be a dessert thing as well.
I've talked to people that really don't know what this is, and they don't get the concept of it. But and you may, since you're a Midwestern person as well. Do you know what a cheese ball is?
I do know what a cheese ball is.
Always got to have a cheese ball at a family dinner. Always got to have a cheese ball with some crackers. And
we had it. Yeah, we had a cheese ball and we had baked brie at Thanksgiving. Dude, cheese balls are the best. And like, yeah, if people don't know what that is, that must be a Midwestern thing. That has to be.
When I lived out west in California, people over there were like, "Wait, what? Like you just stuff cream cheese, chives, and like some other things together?" Like in a ball, and I was like, "Yes, it's amazing."
Well, yeah, it's like dip, but it's like more firm.
Yeah, you do have to spread it with a knife, or like they actually make special like cheese ball serving like little spatulas or knives or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it's like
I'm always down for a cheese ball.
Yeah, it's like a shallow spoon kind of thing. No, they're so good. That's a good pick. Cheese balls are delicious. You know what? Spinach and artichoke dip. If you have that there, we're good. You know what? My dad's not a huge cook, but my dad's a really big baker, and he makes so many pies around like Thanksgiving and Christmas. He makes really good pumpkin pies, and I do like pumpkin pies. I'm not a big pumpkin spice latte person, but I'm gonna blow your mind with pumpkin pies in a sec. He's a big pumpkin pie dude. I also like mincemeat pies, and I know it doesn't actually have deer meat like the ones he makes. It has like raisins and other stuff in it, so there's no real meat in his mincemeat pies. But I really like those. But I don't really like apple pie very much, so that's kind of a thing. But did you know pumpkin pie doesn't have any pumpkin in it?
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it's just like this weird filler shit.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's closer to squash. It's like closer to like, you know, when you have squash soup, it's closer to that is what you're having. And like a pumpkin spice latte for all of you out there who like that. There's no pumpkin in pumpkin spice lattes. It's just like allspice and nutmeg and a bunch of other things. There's no pumpkin at all in pumpkin spice lattes. So for those of you wondering, if you want to make a pumpkin spice latte at home and you're buying the Starbucks pumpkin spice mix for like $90 a pack, you literally can go on. You probably have all the stuff that you would need to make it in your spice drawer right now. I'm not kidding. If you're into pumpkin spice lattes. But yeah, I think that's a big one. And my mom makes this she makes sweet potato casserole, which is really good. It has like brown sugar and like stuff on top. It's like really like crisp and it's like gooey. So good. And then there's also this thing that she makes with like this like, it's like pretzels and jello and like cream. There's like cream cheese frosting in it and like all this other stuff. It is probably 1,000,000 calories. And there's like raspberries in it. Dude, you're done. And they serve it with dinner. It's not even part of dessert. Like, that's one of the things where you like are pretending it's good for you because it's part of dinner. That's not good for you. It's just sugar and calories, but it is so good.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I doubt most people go into Thanksgiving or Christmas or any holiday family gathering thinking like, all right, health time. Like, you know what you're getting into. You're going to have to work to burn all that off, but it's just like, you know what? This is what I signed up for. Going in for them pies, for that mashed potatoes and gravy, for that cheese ball. It's all there. It's all 1 billion calories. It's not great for you, but it is what it is. This is the time of the year to indulge in that.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, I don't know if I'm proud of this or not proud of this. Today was day 37 consecutively of weightlifting and going to the gym and biking 10 kilometers a day. Because I know Christmas, the gym isn't open, so that's my rest day. So I know I can binge eat and not feel guilty because I know I just went to the gym every single day for like an eon beforehand. And then Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, I'm going to go again. So yeah, no, it's cool. That's why I can have Christmas and be a total glutton and eat all the stuff I want and then not hate myself in the morning. But also, a big thing about Christmas that never has hit me is I can't drink because of my epilepsy. So that's not a part of it for me. And a lot of people say like their favorite thing about Christmas is drinking. I've never had that. Ben, you can drink alcohol. What do you think about that?
I guess in my family, there was never any alcohol consumption during Christmas that I know of, outside of maybe a beer. But, like, people weren't getting, like, sloppy drunk or nothing like that. So I guess in my experience, that has not been a part of it. and I don't know I can't think of anybody whose family like did like say like, oh, all right, let's break out the hard booze like for Christmas or Christmas evening or something like that.
Yeah. My cousins like will have beers and stuff like what you're saying, but no one's going crazy. But like a lot of people, that is what they say. Like Christmas is a big thing for them because they get to like party it up. And I've never had that. Yeah, and my parents don't really drink, so I've never had that in my own house either. So I was just like, I was wondering what your personal opinion on that is.
Yeah, I just doesn't seem appealing to me to get sloppy drunk and to make an ass of yourself like on Christmas.
Yeah, like so. Drinking and stuff's cool. Drinking and stuff in front of your family, less cool. Drinking and stuff in front of your parents, even less cool. And drinking yourself in front of your family and like cousins and everything at a very confined setting, even less cool. So I don't get that one. Like if there was any time for me to drink alcohol, it would be far from my family and parents. It wouldn't be in a room with all of them because that just seems like a recipe for disaster. And for me to say something real stupid.
Yeah. I'll stay dry during Christmas. For the sake of my kids, for the sake of everybody else. Like I have no desire to get wasted during all that shit.
I was about to say the stupidest thing. For new listeners, Ben has very young children. I was going to be like, Ben, do your kids drink on Christmas? But also, Ben's not old enough to have kids old enough to drink on Christmas. Yeah, mathematically, that can't work.
Here you go, Max. Here's a shot of whiskey. Have at it.
And he's 3. That's good. It's good parenting there. Good. So for Christmas, do you do it at your home? Or do you go to like a sibling or parent? Or who do you go to?
I guess the big one, we always go to my grandparents' house that lives about 45 minutes away. And this is on my my side of the family. The kid's mom, they have all their stuff that's here in the town that I live in currently. They do that stuff. It's like I said before, with like split families and all that, it's kind of, it happens everywhere really. But luckily it's all within like 45-minute drive of where I live. So not too much traveling there.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That is nice. It's not too much traveling. Yeah, same with us. I think the farthest I ever go is down to West Lafayette for Christmas because my aunt and uncle live there.
Okay.
So, but that's only from where I am in Chicago. It's like 2 hours. So it's not a super big deal.
Right.
But it is like a matter of like, do I have to find a hotel afterwards, or are we crashing there, which is like a whole thing, or are we driving back at night on Christmas, which is another whole thing. So that's like, it's different. Would you ever do Christmas at your house, like where you are right now?
If people would be willing to come, it's a lot of hard work to like host something like that and like get food ready. It's like I've hosted like, I've when I was down in Texas, for military training, like we had a Thanksgiving dinner with a bunch of friends, and we hosted that, and it ended up being one of the best, little gatherings of like friends dinner, like Friendsgivings or whatever that I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was, great success, but it's so stressful to have to like host people and prepare all the food, cook, and you're trying to get everything perfect, and so everyone's satisfied. And then, there's just so many elements to go into hosting like a little gathering like that. It's just like, I like doing that stuff, but at the same time, like, fuck that. Like, I'd rather just go and be a good house guest and enjoy someone else's cooked food.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I like cooking in general, but that is a whole thing where it's like, oh God, I have to like prep, I have to be a good host, I have to do all this, I have to have everything be clean. It's just like this whole thing, but it is fun. It's like, it's a nice thing where like, wow, I was able to put on this thing for my friends. But yeah. What is the whole, I have never heard this term until this year, Black Wednesday.
Black Wednesday. I don't think I'm familiar with that.
So I've heard Black Wednesday or Blackout Wednesday. It's apparently the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You just go out and get shit-faced.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a term for that.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I thought that was just Wednesday before Thanksgiving because I always had friends who went to do that.
I think there's a statistic I was told by a gentleman that I used to work for. It was this little mom and shop pizza place. I think it was Wednesday or the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the highest selling like pizza day in America.
Really? That makes sense.
People do all their cooking on Thursdays, and they just want to be like, okay, we've bought all the food. We may have done some prep for it. We just want to order a pizza before we go into, the trenches for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. That's a very interesting thought. I've never thought about that, but that would make sense. Like that day or the day after Christmas would be the day of like the highest amount of pizza sold. Or I was thinking the day of the Super Bowl, but I mean, people like a lot of other stuff on the Super Bowl besides that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do their own like making wings or dips. Like it's a high appetizer style of like an event. Like I'm not. Well, I've been to Super Bowl parties with pizza before, of course, but like most of the time, people bring crock pots with dips or like bake their own wings and stuff like that. It's kind of one of those like, all right, I'm going to show these people I can fucking cook a whole mess of wings, or I can make a good spicy buffalo dip or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, let me think for like Super Bowl wings or Super Bowl food. Because I hosted a few in college, and then like even in high school I had friends over, just because my house, we just have a really big TV in our like family room, and then in like our basement, which is like another family room, but like smaller, we have one. And I think we did wings and then this like broccoli salad. It's like broccoli and like raisins and bacon and like this like ranch sour cream kind of sauce stuff that's really tangy. It's really good. We did that, and then like a few other like hors d'oeuvre kind of things, but just lots of that. And then I think burgers.
Yeah, like one that I've always had, usually is made too, was like little like cocktail wieners like wrapped in bacon.
Yo, do you like Little Smokies?
Fuck yes.
Hell yeah, Little Smokies are my favorite hors d'oeuvre food, like, or your favorite like little popper kind of food.
Yeah.
And so many people don't know what Little Smokies are. Like, I was trying to talk to, I think my roommates at school about it, or someone, like, yeah, I think it was my roommates. You know why? It was at that party that you showed up at. I was asking, like, yo, can we hit up some Little Smokies? And they're like, what the hell are Little Smokies? I was dumbfounded. I'm like, how do you know what these are? They're delicious. They're like little, like, cocktail wieners that are, like, soaked in sauce, and they're, like, cooked in there, and like other stuff, and they get plump and delicious, and then you can dip them, or you don't need to, but I like dipping them in ranch. Or have you ever tried dipping a Little Smoky in artichoke spinach dip? It's delicious. Try it.
I haven't tried ranch or spinach dip yet, but we always made them like in a crock pot full of like barbecue sauce too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like a staple.
Yeah,
like those kind of like for barbecues or parties like that, and like meatballs, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people don't know that, but yes, the meatballs, like Swedish meatball kind of things in like a crock pot. I think that's a Midwestern thing. These might be Midwestern things. Also, I have a question for you. Do you know what Hess is? Like Hess trucks?
Hess trucks.
It's like, okay. If you don't, I'm not going to get all into it. But it's like a thing. My godfather is from the East Coast. Or he's from Detroit. He's from where my dad's from because they're best friends. But, because my godfather isn't related to us. It's my dad's best friend. But he lives on the East Coast. And Hess is a big thing. It's like, they have like commercials. It's like they're like toy trucks that you give kids for Christmas. And it's like a Christmassy thing. They're white and green. There's like different version. Like every year there's a different Hess truck model. Like one year was like a space shuttle behind a truck. One year was like a fire truck. One year was like motorcycles that were inside of like a semi. It's different stuff. But apparently it's not a big thing in the Midwest. It's a big East Coast thing. And I was just watching a podcast today and they were talking about it and a lot of people didn't know. I'm like, wow, I know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that topic.
Yeah.
What is, or do you have a memory, like a most vivid memory of like a Christmas gift that you got, or something that you can like definitely tag as like your favorite Christmas gift that you've ever received?
Ooh, okay. So, I'm very lucky to have a lot of very good Christmas memories, but I think one of the coolest things, I've got a lot of cool things for Christmas, which I'm so lucky to be able to say, but I think one of the highlights was, as I've said, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I've been a big Lord of the Rings fan since I've been 4 years old. And I have I still have them. I will never throw them out. They will go to my kids one day. All of my Lord of the Rings figures and everything. There was a year, because that's what I asked Santa for, is just Lord of the Rings, everything. And there was a year that I got a bunch of different ring wraiths as figures. And I have 4 of them. And there's 9. And I got 4 of them. So it's essentially the same thing you get a bunch of different times. But I was stoked because you just keep getting them. And I'm like, hell yeah, I can make all all 9 ring wraiths. But then I also got this Smeagol Gollum figure. It doesn't move, but it's on top of a rock. And you can talk to it. It's like a magic 8-ball. And it responds to you. And you can press a button and ask it a thing, and then it'll respond either a positive thing in Smeagol's voice or a negative thing in Gollum's voice. And that's one of the coolest things. I still have it sitting in my room. And that's definitely a highlight for my Christmas. I also got a Nintendo Wii one year that I still have. Hell yeah, Nintendo Wii. But I think the Smeagol Gollum, Lord of the Rings thing, that whole year, that was definitely a mega highlight for me, just because how big of a Tolkien fan I am.
Nice.
How about you?
I think the one thing I can the most one I can vividly remember was my brother and I. My brother was 2 years, or my older brother, I should say, because I do have a younger brother. My older brother is 2 years older than me. We got a Super Nintendo with a copy of Donkey Kong Country for Christmas one year, and that was just the happiest we ever were.
Yeah.
It was one of those things all right, well, I'm pretty sure my mom probably made us open that one last just so we can appreciate all the other stuff too. But it was just as soon as we opened that, it's all right, plug this bitch into the TV. We are playing some Super Mario and some Donkey Kong Country right now.
That is amazing. I have memories of that.
That shows my age too.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I'm slightly younger than Ben, but getting video game systems. I'm an only child as well, so for those of you listening, you have to remember I'm an only child. And getting a video game system. I got a PSP for Christmas one time and stuff, so that does show my age. So yes, I'm in my mid-20s. I did have a PSP, and getting things like that is just so cool. The Smeagol Gollum Lord of the Rings thing is something I still have in my room, and it's just something that's since I'm a huge geek. But getting a GameCube or PSP or Wii or something like that, or Xbox, are so cool because it's something that your parents like you having too, because then you don't bug them all day. Because you just go to the TV, or if you have a second TV in your home, you go to the other TV where your parents are we don't want to watch you play video games, go to the other TV or do whatever. And then you're out of your parents' hair for the rest of forever. And your parents are oh my God, thank God. And, it's kind of a win-win for everyone. You make the kids happy, you're happy in the end, and it's just great.
Yeah, I'm sure, that's exactly what it was. It's all right, you guys, Ben, Charlie, quit fucking bothering us. All right, go play.
Yeah.
We're going to clean up after all these torn up wrapping paper and boxes now, but you guys go have your fun.
Yeah. Did you do the thing on Christmas Eve where you were allowed to open one package?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that most years, and it was a small
yes.
Gift. It wasn't the giant one sitting behind the tree. Some good shit's in that.
Yeah.
It was always a stocking stuffer or something like that.
Yeah, it was always a stocking stuffer, and so I actually, this is something I don't think I've ever talked about on the podcast. So I had foreign exchange students who lived with us. I think we had 9, not at the same time, each year. So they always send us stuff. Or my godfather or godmother would send me something, or aunts and uncles, or something like that. And they would have packages that would just come in the mail. It's wait till Christmas to open this for your family, and that's what we would open on Christmas Eve. Something that my parents didn't get, or wasn't from Santa, or wasn't from something like that. That wasn't pre-wrapped. It was a mail kind of thing, so it wasn't already under the tree. That's what I was always allowed to open.
Okay.
So it was never something that was from Santa the next morning, or that was already under the tree, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the way that my parents did it, which was cool. I really like that because then you're still super hyped for the next morning. You're like, yo, like I can't sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the last questions I could think of for you is, if and when you have children of your own someday, I assume just from like kind of our conversation tonight that you're not going to be like the anti-Santa parent, the one that like says like, oh no, I'm not going to teach my kids about Santa. I'm going to make them believe or appreciate that like the presents come from us and blah blah blah. Like I've met some parents that are like
assholes.
Like, well, maybe not even assholes. Yeah. It's just like they are absolutely against the concept of Santa Claus, and I don't get that stance. Like I don't see the harm in it. So I was wanting to know what you thought and if you had a plan for your kids.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you who don't know, I am not in a relationship. I do not have kids. And yeah, so I'm just a normal dude in his 20s. But yeah, I mean, eventually I would like to have a failure of a child one day because that kid will turn out to be a failure if I'm his dad because I'm the worst. I half joke about what I'm saying. But no, I 100% would do the whole Santa thing because it forces a kid to understand that like if you're good things will happen. If you're bad, you'll get a lump of coal. And it really does teach kids like all year round, like, hey, make sure to be good because like good things come with rewards. And I think that's like kind of an important thing to instill in kids. And also it's fun. Like, I think it's fun for everyone. I think it's fun for the parents as well to keep up that sort of like, I don't want to say the word charade, but to keep up that kind of thing with Santa, like the whole like,
the mythology.
Yeah, the mythology and the whole that rite of passagey kind of thing that happens with it. Because there's so much in our culture that goes around Santa. And it's just like one of those things that's just purely positive in every single way. That like, of course I would tell my kid, or if I ever had kids, that like, yeah, Santa, like, yo, you gotta be good. You make sure. And also like the writing a letter to Santa. Because one, no one writes letters anymore, which I think is a dying thing. And that'd be cool, like to teach your kid how to write a letter. And then you like can do that, and it just teaches you to like it teaches you like giving and receiving and being humble. And it's like I think in nearly every single way it's positive. And I've had like friends who also don't have kids argue against it, like what you were saying. But I'm like, dude, come on, lay off. It's a kid. Like, let them have it. You know?
Yeah, and like I don't see the harm in like it. In the most basic way, I guess, sure, you're lying to your child. Mm-hmm. But this is an opposite side of the spectrum of like the lying that some people are accusing this of being. And it's like, you know, yeah, they're going to eventually figure it out. Probably, like 99% they're going to figure out that Santa isn't real and it was just something that, you know, you tell your kids. It's just something. It's kind of like a pretend, like fun, make believe thing. Mm-hmm. And I've never met a single person that was ever completely like warped and traumatized by the fact that Santa wasn't real. It was always just like oh, okay, well, cool, or that, or it's either like, oh, okay, I guess the presents really were coming from mom and dad, or oh, that's okay, maybe cry a little bit, but then just they get over it.
Yeah, and it like. I think, yeah, it makes you sad at first, depending on when you learn, how you learn, all that kind of stuff. But, like, it also teaches you, like, oh, it's kind of like a cycle. Like, once you learn about it, you learn, like, why it's a thing. Like, I think, or maybe when you're older, you learn, like, oh, this is why. Like, there's a meaning behind it as well. It's not just some, like, charade.
Yeah. And, like, my kids get 100% absolute joy out of the concept of Santa. Like, we've already done, like, an early Christmas for them because, like, we got a bit of a different situation this year as far as how we're going to do Christmas. But, like, they love it. They love, like, seeing, like, gifts, like, labeled, like, from Santa or something like that. Not always just from, like, mom and dad.
Yeah, no, definitely. And because, like, my parents always did the from mom and dad and then the from Santa ones. And, like, you knew when you got up on Christmas morning, you're like, yo, that crazy special wrap package that, like, I don't know how my parents pulled it off. Because, like, I mean, I live in a normal home, but they had, like, special wrapping paper, all this stuff. Like, I don't know what witchcraft and wizardry they pulled off to do that. But, like, props to them. And, like, the leaving the cookies out and, like, leaving, like, the carrots or whatever it is that you do in your home. And, like, that whole thing with the chimney and all that. Like, it's so cool. Like, and it like, I don't know. It's, like, it's good memories. And it's those things that, like, you can keep with you pretty much always as, like, that's why Christmas is special to people. And that's why I was harping on how much I fucking hate social media in Christmas because it's ruining something cool. And I legitimately... there's very few things that really, really piss me off online. I hate when I see posts online that I know kids can look at because, for some reason, kids have smartphones, which is a really bad idea. Because there's a lot of shitty stuff on the internet. But when people post, like, Santa's not real posts on Facebook and stuff, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, do you hate joy? Like, why are you trying to ruin this for people?
Yeah, they're just trying to be... like edgelords, like get a rise out of people.
Yeah,
it's pathetic. That's the basis of it. It's just, you know, they think that they get some sort of satisfaction out of pissing people off, and it's just like, dude, you're a fucking bum. Like,
yeah,
go somewhere else.
I 100%. I couldn't pull it off now, but like we did a thing in my family when I was younger where I actually never knew who it was who dressed up as Santa. But, like, somehow, maybe it's at my house. I've never actually seen the suit, but there was always Santa who would show up to our house on Christmas night to help us unwrap presents. And, like, I'm always, like, because I was younger, I was trying to thinking back, like, which one of my cousins or uncles was it? Because, like, it was actually a really high-quality suit and, like, beard and stuff. And I remember one year my parents asked me if I would want to do it. I'm like, yo, I can't pull that off. Like, I think at the time I was like 20 or like maybe 21, and I'm like, guys, I'm not selling this. I can't do that voice. And also, like, there's no way. Like, and my dad is like kind of my build and really thin. I'm like, you need to get like one of my fat cousins or uncles up in here to do that role because there's no way. And I just like, I have pictures of me in my living room or like the room that we have our Christmas tree in, which is like the kind of like the room with like we have a piano in there and stuff. It's the room that you don't hang out in because we have a TV in the other room and my mom will yell at me if I'm laying on the couch in there. That room of our house. You know what I mean? Like every family has that room.
There's like the living room and then there's a family room.
Yeah, it's like the Russell, get out of this room, stop messing up this room, it's for guests. I'm like, Mom, we never have guests over. Why can't we go in here? She's like, get out! That room. So I have pictures of me in there and like I'm sitting on Santa's lap and I'm like, who the hell is this in this picture? Like I've still looked up, like, who the hell is sitting there? Because in the picture, I'm like, wasn't everyone else in that picture? Did we get some guy from outside to come do this? I've looked at those pictures fairly recently, and I'm like, what the hell is this? What's going on here? But yeah, I think that's really fun, and I think like people who don't like doing that for their kids are, I think in the long run, doing their kids a disservice. And I know last year I was at my cousin's for Christmas, and a lot of my cousins have really little kids, kind of like your kids' age. So they're like 3, 4, 5, even younger, like that age. I think it's like from 5 to 2. And like the next morning, like when you get up and you're like at your cousin's house, and they're like, "Oh my God, Santa came!" You're like, "Yeah, Santa came! Hell yeah!" Like, let's go see what Santa got you. And like you just like play along with it, and it's super fun. And there's no negative to that.
Yeah, I mean, for any parents that do decide they don't want to do the Santa thing for whatever reasons they have, like, you know, more power to you, but let other kids whose parents are deciding to do that, let them have it.
Yes.
Like, don't try and lecture people like the reasons why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Live your life, let other people live their life.
Yeah, I actually never learned that Santa wasn't real through a friend. I kind of somehow I figured it out or something. Yeah, it was never through a friend.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I don't have a exact memory of when I figured it out. and I don't remember a friend ever telling me like, "Oh, Santa's not real." You know that?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it clicks someday.
I think it was because like the grade school I went to, it was only kids from my town, just because like where I live, like the suburb I'm in. I went to like a Catholic grade school, and it was like all the other parents in the area. So like all the parents knew each other, and I think there's a mutual like agreement. It's like if one of your kids tells my kids that Santa's not real, we're gonna kick your ass. So I think that's why that never happened. I maybe it's not. I don't know. My parents could definitely vouch for that or definitely deny that. But it never was another friend. That was never it for me. And somehow, like what you said, there's no memory I have of where like it was a realization. Somehow I just like somehow figured out when I was, I don't know, whatever age. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I kind of realized it that way because it didn't like the bubble didn't get burst for me. It kind of was like, oh, I see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it was like more of a positive thing because I like have heard stories of like friends or like someone's like older brother, older sister tells them and then their parents beat the shit out of them kind of thing. Where it's like, why did you tell your little brother this? And it's
why
like,
are you sucking the joy out of his life?
Yeah, like just because you're sad and weird doesn't mean you need to make him sad and weird, kind of thing. So yeah, that was definitely a big part of Christmas. Did you ever do? I mean, not to get too personal. Are you Catholic?
No.
Oh, okay. Did you do Saint? Wait, if you're not Catholic, this makes me sound real dumb. Sorry for everyone listening who isn't Catholic or is and thinks I'm an idiot for saying this. Do you guys do saints?
Like Protestant?
Yeah. Do you guys have saints like Saint Mary's or Saint Mary and like Saint Joseph, Saint Jude?
Honestly, like. Me never growing up super religious or anything, and also my current status as an atheist, like I really don't know if Protestantism does like saints or not.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. We also did St. Nicholas Day, which is like December 13th. It's the feast day of St. Nicholas, so that's like his special day. And for St. Nicholas Day, that's like the whole thing where St. Nicholas is Santa Claus. That's who that is historically. He was actually a real person. In the Netherlands, maybe? Whatever. And so you leave your shoes out for St. Nicholas Day, and he leaves you like a little treat. And that's like a pre-Christmas thing for a lot of Catholic kids, where it's like you leave your shoes out, and like I think you leave them by the chimney or something, and he drops a little treat in there. So like maybe it would be like, I don't know, like a little toy car, or like it'd be a hint towards something else. So, like, say you're getting, like, a Wii. There'd be something that's, like, a hint. Or it would be something, like, prep you. So, like, let's say right now, as a 23-year-old, like, let's say whatever I asked for. It doesn't matter. Let's say I asked for gym gear. It'd be, like, wrist wraps or, like, gym socks or something. Being like,
yeah,
okay, something's coming. It's like a little teaser. Or it's just, it could be something completely unrelated, like, for like Easter getting like chocolate bunnies or something like that, or maybe like a really nice pair of mittens, or like a really I remember one time I got a hat for St. Nicholas Day, the ones you used to be able to put your iPod into the beanie and the earbuds are on either side, so like when you're walking to school you don't have to take your hands out and you can hit shuffle and it just plays in your hat. So
I've never seen one of those before.
Really? It's like I still have it actually. I can put my own headphones in it now, I guess. But it's for like runners. It's like an Under Armour kind of skull cap beanie, and like your iPod Nano or whatever could fit into the side like in a flap, and then you can run your earphones into the sides where your ears are, and they sit there. So when you're running, your earbuds don't come out.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I remember I got one of those, and just other stuff like that, like kind of little things that you're like, oh, this is awesome, or Christmassy, or you know what I mean? Like a really like if you really like a certain band, maybe you got their like CD, which for those of you out there who don't know, or you got their cassette, CDs and cassettes were a thing before Spotify.
It's called a compact disc.
Yeah. What was the first CD you ever bought? First album?
One I ever received or bought myself?
Bought yourself.
I honestly don't know the first one I ever bought myself. Though I do know the like two that I got at the same time. The first ones I ever received, were Alanis Morissette's "Jagged Little Pill."
Damn. Okay.
And Green Day's Insomniac album. That was like their album that came after Dookie. and it's still one of my favorite albums to this day.
That is a really good album. The first ones I ever bought, I don't remember which one I bought first, but they were like in the same like week or two. I bought AC/DC's Back in Black.
Okay.
I bought one of Weird Al's like compilation albums, and I bought Weezer's Pinkerton. Were like the first 3 that I bought.
Okay.
And I know those are they're like, I mean, I like indie and rock and stuff like that, so obviously. But yeah, those are like the first 3 I got. And yeah, I mean, with all the Christmas stuff, I think the big takeaway from this episode is don't ruin Christmas for people. Like, Christmas is important to people for a lot of different reasons, depending if you're religious, if you're not religious, if you have a family, if you don't have a family, whatever. Don't ruin it for people. It's kind of just a happy time. It's a time we all can not be dicks to each other and just be cool. And
exactly. Yeah. Just enjoy the season.
Yeah.
Be cool to one another.
Oh, to answer your question an hour and a half later, why don't I like the rest of the holiday season around Christmas? One, because I don't like winter. I don't like being cold. I just don't. So that's why it always makes me upset around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Not because of the family stuff, because it's always cold and I like being outside. I'm kind of an outdoorsy person. I don't like being cold, and I don't like that it gets dark around 3:15. I don't live in Alaska. Come on, guys.
Give me a little bit more sunlight here.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Other than that, if, like, say I lived in LA, I'd be fine in December. Like, I'd be 100% fine as long as it wasn't cold. Because I love, like, seeing the lights, seeing all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and the whole white Christmas with snow, take it or leave it. Like, last year we had a white Christmas. A really bad snowstorm on Christmas. Mm-hmm. Which is cool. Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, it's snowing on Christmas. But other than that, I don't give a shit. Like, as long as, like, everything is going well, I don't care what it looks like. Outside could be on fire for all I care. Because, you know what I mean? It's not what it's about to me. Also, do you watch football on Christmas before we go? Or do you do the sport thing on Christmas?
I'm not really concerned about sports that are on, like, especially if it's not, like, a team that I root for. Mm-hmm. But, like, if it's on a TV, like, at the place I'm at, sure, I might sit down with my plate of food and watch it. But, like, I'm not, like, devoted to what's on, like, the television at the time. Because usually I have, like, other things to worry about.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not a big sports person in general. But it's always on Christmas. And I'm like, oh, cool, sports. Also, Christmas sports, big trailers always drop in the commercials. So
that's true.
Yeah, depending if it's basketball, football, whatever the hell you're watching. Depending on where you are in the world. Maybe it's soccer. I don't know, soccer season in the winter. Maybe it's rugby. Maybe it's cricket. I have no idea. But, yeah, I think that was some Christmas stuff. Ben, do you have any Christmas closing comments before we're done?
I guess for people that are still traveling, please travel safe. Watch the roads if you're in an icy place. Just be mindful of those around you. For those people that might be spending Christmas alone, a rough part of the season for people that just don't have immediate family around or someone to share it with. But just know that you're not the only person that's going through this, and you'll get through it. There's sunnier skies on the other side of the holiday season if it's not something that you're into. Just try and be as happy as you can. Be good to other people. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever your religious or non-religious leanings are. Just have a great holiday season.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that Ben just made. Yeah, if Christmas is a hard time for you, and you found this podcast, you're listening to this podcast, we totally get it. I'm sure Ben and I definitely have had hard times. Listen to this podcast. We're always pretty positive, even when we're not positive. So if you're having a hard time and no one else cares, we care because you listen to us. And also, you're probably a pretty good person. So we wish you a happy whenever you are listening to this. And if you're listening to this in July, cool. Good for you. Thank you for listening to a Christmas episode in July.
If you're going through our back catalog and checking us out,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for shuffling through the past.
Yeah, thank you for listening to old episodes. We guarantee this is episode like 60-something. If we're already on episode 80 to 500, the episodes that are closer to when the episode you're listening to came out are better. Just go to the new ones. They get better every week. They don't get worse. So, Thank you, though. Thank you for listening to this. But yeah, I think that's a big thing to remind people, because Christmas can be a really hard time for a lot of people, and it can be really like unfortunate with like depending on family situations, and that sucks. And just be positive. Watch some Simpsons Christmas episodes. They're really good. They're probably some of the best. So, yeah, Ben, thank you for being on. You can do the closeout. I will tell people about our amazing website that we have for See What Sticks. Guys, this is See What Sticks. We have a website. I always link it in the description. We have an email that you can email, and I will read your emails, and Ben will read your emails. And if it's cool, we'll reply to you. Or if you want to say something on the show, we'll read it on the show. We also have an Instagram, and we have a Twitter. Even though I was shitting on Twitter, I do check the Instagram and Twitter every day. If you want to reach out to us on there, please do. I love to hear from you. Ben loves to hear from you. I am Russell from See What Sticks, and I am signing off. Ben, let's close this out.
As always, for new listeners, thanks for joining us for the first time. We hope to have you back next time with us. For longtime listeners, thank you for your longtime support. As always, we love you guys. This has been See What Sticks, a podcast about everything and nothing. I am Ben. We hope to catch you next time.